Welcome to My Decadent Life. My name is Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining me for this video today. If you were here to see about Beautycounter's new creamy concealer, then you are in the right spot. Stick around. We're going to get into all the information and the demo right now. So if you've been watching me for a while, you may have noticed that I use a lot of Beautycounter products and I am a Beautycounter consultant. But one of the products you probably have not seen me use much of is their concealer. And that is because I really struggled to find a good shade range and I didn't like the application delivery system. It looked like this. It was called the Touch Up Concealer Pen and it had one of these brush applicators where you clicked up the bottom. And I really found the texture of this product to be beautiful, but the shade match tended to feel in the color light too orange for me, and in the color fair it was just a little too bright for me, and in the medium 1 shade range, I want to say 2, it was just a little too warm for me. So I really struggled to find an application or a color that I liked, but I also struggled with the application. I find these brush tips to get gunky really easily for whatever reason. I mean, a doe foot sits inside of the product, so it seems like it always stays kind of fresh, where even though these had a cap on it, I felt like it often got kind of a gummy situation, and I would clean them, but even with cleaning it, then I felt like I was wasting the product. And I went to wipe it off a little bit, and I found that after it sat on my skin for a little bit, it tended to oxidize. So that is just full transparency on my feelings about Beautycounter's last concealer. Now, they reformulated their foundation. It was called the Skin Tint, and they reformulated it to the Skin Twin. And I have really enjoyed the reformulation of that product. However, I did like the Skin Tint as well, and it worked really good for my skin. But I found this to be more buildable, and I liked the finish of this a little bit better. It seemed more skin-like, where I feel like the Skin Tint always stayed a little bit more luminous and didn't build coverage as well. So I'm actually going to be swatching these for you so you can see the concealer colors in comparison to the foundation colors I have. And I have 4 concealers. I'm super excited, and I actually wish I would have gotten one more. So if you know me, I love to have a brightened under eye, not anything overwhelming as far as brightening under the eye, but I like to brighten a little bit under my eye, and I like to use then a matching complexion shade for my skin. So I have the colors medium 1, light 2, light 1, and fair 2. And I will tell you a little bit more about those as we go. And in my foundation shades, I have 230, 310, which is what I'm wearing today, and 340, which was perfect for me this summer. But also we are introducing, Beautycounter launched a beauty sponge. So this is the type of sponge where you get it wet and it puffs up. So I've already been using this one. You get it wet, it puffs up to quite a bit bigger in size, but they are adorable. I love the shape of this sponge. So those of you who know me again, these are the 2 sponges you will almost always see me use. This has been discontinued though, and it has been breaking my heart. I have a couple of them, and then once they're gone from Amazon, they will be gone from Amazon probably forever. These are both by EcoTools, and they're all green one, and then this is their green swirly one. I find them to both work well. I just ended up getting these because I think they were on sale on Ulta, and so I like both of the green style. I love a flat side. So Beautycounter has me with the flat side for sure, and when these are dry, they're really similar in shape. So I really like that flat side for stamping on my foundation, and then I love the round little butt for doing my bronzer. And I do that in the demo as well today. But I loved this little guy because I liked how it came to a point, so it was really easy for me to get into the inner corner of my eye and to highlight down beside my nose. So with this sponge, I was like, they may have done it just perfectly enough for me for that to work. And I've actually been finding that I like to use it the rounded side because it just sort of curves in next to my nose a little bit better, but that's just personal preference. And these sponges retail for $20. I don't know a ton about them as of right now. The concealer got a lot of little bit more hype than the sponges did, but I do know that these are latex free. So if you're allergic to latex, this would be a good option for you. But I don't really know much more about how it's made, or if it has any more like sustainability, you know, like if it's a recyclable sponge or how you're supposed to dispose of it, or however that goes. But they do come in this cute little box. And it says to use damp or dry for flexible coverage and application, but I almost always prefer to dampen my sponge. There are definitely times and places where you may go in with a dry sponge though. At the time of this video launching, if I learn more about this, please check the description box. I will update down there. So at the same time, the Mattifying Powder, which looks like this now, is also going to be getting updated packaging. I don't know if the formula is being updated or if the formula is staying the same and it's just going to be updated packaging. That will retail for $39, and I actually love this powder, so if they don't formulate it, I am completely content with that. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with this powder. I find it to be absolutely translucent. I find it to be really lightweight, and I find it to do a great job truly mattifying the skin. But I am excited for the new packaging. So the concealer now comes in a package that looks like this, and I really love how they've updated a lot of their foundation or complexion products to be like this gold and kind of white looking situation. I think it looks really pretty. It is called the Skin Twin Creamy Concealer, and I would say that it is definitely creamy, and I would also consider it buildable, which is what it says on the container. Flawlessly conceal and help diffuse imperfections with silky smooth avocado butter coated pigments and skin loving not grass extract. So this concealer is considered to have a natural satin-like finish, and I would agree with that. And again, they do say medium to full coverage, and I would agree with that as well. You can sheer it out a little bit more using your blender, but if you want to keep the fullest coverage, I would recommend using a brush, or the most full coverage, I would recommend using your fingers, even though I hate using my fingers to apply concealer. They also say that this concealer is non-drying and doesn't leave a tacky finish, and I would agree with that as well. I definitely don't feel like my skin under my eye looks dry, even though it's powdered, and I get the same amount of creasing that I do with any product I put under my eye. Same thing where I sort of patted through this wrinkle right here with the concealer. I'm not getting any more or less creasing than I normally do, because that's a pretty pronounced wrinkle, and so I kind of use that as my gauge. if it's way worse, it's worth noting, but when I just have the regular amount, it's, you know, very much comparable to what other kind of products I'm using. And I would say that I could possibly get away without setting this concealer. Once it was all blended in, I felt like it really kind of like set a little bit, which I do like. Some of my concealers stay so emollient that I feel like I really have to set them. I will probably always set this, but there's something nice about knowing, like, if you don't have to, if you really wanted to get away with it, this could be a concealer where you end up not having to set it. These are made in the USA of global ingredients. This concealer retails for $31, and they have updated the shade range from 6 shades to 13 shades, and they have it listed out like they do the Skin Twin foundation. I just can't talk today, you guys. Where it comes in fair, light, medium, tan, dark, and deep, and then inside that level there is only 2, and then I think one of them obviously has 3 where it corresponds. So just a little bit more before we show you the swatches. I have the little chart where it talks about what concealer will correspond with your foundation, and right now, since it's not live on the website, I've only had the behind the scenes kind of information. So I chose light 2 because that was light with golden yellow undertones, and I often don't mind my concealer under my eye to be a little bit more yellow. And in the dead of winter, when my complexion is at its lightest or even fairest perhaps, I still consider myself to be fairly neutral, and so I struggle with that sometimes because a lot of times a fair concealer will be more pink, but since they had Fair 2 was considered fair with neutral undertones, I figured that that might work well for me under my eye in the dead of winter. So Fair 2 is fair with neutral undertones, Light 2 is light with golden undertones, which is working really great for me right now. And then Light 1 is light with neutral undertones. So I was thinking again, in the dead of winter, I may use Light 1 on my complexion and then probably Fair 2 under my eye. Sorry if you're not following me here. And then Medium 1 is medium with neutral or golden undertones. And I figured that that would work as well, medium or golden. And that corresponds with medium 310, which is what I'm wearing right now. Now I chose not to get medium 2, which is the one that they would correspond with the foundation 340, which is what I was wearing this summer, because I'm really not wearing that color anymore. I decided to pause and wait on medium 2 for right now, and I just went with the medium 1. And I will go ahead and show you those swatches right now. Okay. Yes, we'll be able to see. I was a little concerned we wouldn't be able to see very well. So here we have Fair 2, which again is fair with neutral undertones. And then right here we have Light 1, which is light with neutral undertones. Then we have Light 2, which is light with golden yellow undertones. And then way over here we have Medium 1, which is medium with neutral or golden undertones. And I feel like that's a pretty good representation. I'm not displeased with any of those shade descriptions. And down here, I know it's a little swirled, so you can't quite see. I wonder if there's a better way for me to show you guys. But this is the Skin Twin in 230. This is 310. And then this guy over here and then this guy over here is 340. So you can definitely see how 340 is much warmer than my skin tone is right now. I'm definitely really working good with 310. So I feel like medium 1 right up here is definitely reasonable to use with 310. I think that they're a pretty good shade match. In fact, why don't I show you those exactly? So just in case you are the same complexion as I am, right here in the middle is the Skin Twin in 310, and then next to it here we have Medium 1, and over here we have Light 2. So if you want just a little tiny bit of brightening under your eye, Light 2 would be a great companion. If you want it to completely match, then Medium 1 would be perfect. And if you are 340, then I would definitely recommend Medium 2 for complexion matching, and then you can go ahead and bump up a shade or two lighter than that if you want to brighten under your eye. These are definitely nice and creamy, and they say like medium to full coverage, and I would agree with that. I used a sponge, of course, so I get a little less coverage. I'm always okay with that. I'm okay with using more product if I have to build it up with a sponge, because I prefer a sponge application. I like how it looks better, even if I have to use a little bit more product. Some people do not. They would rather use much less product and then go ahead and maybe use their finger, but I got these long nails on today, but I just don't love using my finger to apply my complexion products. It's just a thing, and I don't really know how to describe it. And sometimes I will use a brush, and so I will definitely also experiment with this concealer with the brush, but since they launched the sponge, I was all about using the sponge in the demo today. So let's get into the demo. I show you what I do, I talk through it, but also I just wanted to tell you that I prepped my skin with the vitamin C, and during this holiday season there is a great little set with a smaller sized vitamin C and the Peel Duo, and then I did use my Sheer Defense sunscreen. I really do like this sunscreen. Just got to give it a few minutes to set and you're good to go. It also works great as a primer. This morning I did use a primer as well, but today I did not use a primer. I did my makeup early this morning, took it off, and then I came home to film this video. And then I also wanted to go ahead and do the bronzer, and then we did use the sponge to set with the powder as well. So you're gonna see that all right now. And now I am using medium 310. So we are going to go ahead and just apply that using this new beauty sponge from Beautycounter. I was just going to keep this purely concealer, but since there's an actual sponge to demo, I thought it would be perfectly appropriate to go ahead and touch base on this foundation again, which I am still loving and using very often. I am also enjoying the Kir Weiss for a really light coverage, and I'm also enjoying the ALL Beauty. I would have to say right now, those are my these are my three top favorites. So I like the sponge. I like the shape of the sponge. I feel like it applies nicely. It has good squishability. And I think it gets the job done pretty quickly. Okay, so the two concealers we're going to be really focused on today because I feel like they match really well is medium 1 for my complexion and then light 2 for my under eye. So I have a few little blemishes. My little girl asked me why I had freckles. It's funny, I have just a little bit of melasma, pregnancy melasma, but hardly any. So, and then I'm going to take light 2 to highlight under my eye. And just a tiny bit, well, I guess I have a bunch over there. So we'll just kind of blend that all together. I have one of those little red dots. So earlier when I was trying this, I like to kind of have like my foundation side and then like a different side for the concealer. So I think I'm going to go in on the rounded edge to blend out my concealer. And I like how it has that shape. I feel like I can get in under the eye really easily. And I am finding this concealer to blend out pretty nicely. Just kind of pat those in. Okay, so that is everything blended in, and I feel like that works pretty well. I feel like this curved side of the blender works really well. I feel like the flat side would also work really well, and I feel like the concealer blends in really nicely without having to do a lot of work. So they are saying that the sponge works really well for setting under your eye. I typically use a brush. Every once in a while I will use a sponge to do that, but I don't like to use too much, and I feel like I have a better option to use less when I'm using a brush. But today for trial, we will go ahead and use this. And this powder is also getting like some beautiful updated packaging coming soon too. Okay, so I think that that's set underneath the eye really nicely. So why don't we continue, and I'm just going to set a couple other places where I know I won't be putting any cream product. We'll just go right down my nose and we'll set right through that wrinkle I have that makes me crazy. And we'll go right there and right there. So one of the other things I like to use a sponge for is applying cream bronzer. Now you can go ahead and just draw this right on your face, or you can also go ahead and just pop it on the end of the sponge. I like to use this part of the sponge to apply my cream bronzer, but we can go ahead and just put a little bit on as well. I am somebody who usually does contour, even though I might be doing a lighter makeup day. I still really like to do that, but I don't necessarily need to as long as I have bronzer on. Sometimes I almost want to like twist a little. Do I feel like I have enough on? Yeah, because we're going to do some blush. Maybe I want to do just a tiny bit more. Now that my tan has been fading, I definitely find I like a little bit more bronzer. Okay, plenty of bronzer on. So let's go ahead and set. You can go ahead and kind of set through that, because I do set my whole face with powder no matter what. All right, everybody, here is my completed finished look. I did also film the blush and highlight and the eyes as well, so that'll be a separate video, and keep a lookout for that. That might come before or it might come after. Not 100% sure. I'm due to have a baby in this moment in 2 weeks, so I am excited that I've gotten a chance to do some pre-filming. I really want you guys to not notice that I'm gone at all, but I want to be able to take that time to spend getting acquainted with our new baby, and it's a lot of work for sure, right? So nobody's saying that it isn't. So happy to have these videos ready to go, so when these launches happen, I can go ahead and just click public. So thank you so much for being with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. I would love it if you would also consider subscribing, and let me know what you think down in the comments. I always love to hear from you. I will put links for everything in the description box below. I do make a commission if you choose to use those links, and if you do choose to use them, I absolutely appreciate it, but never any pressure. I really just appreciate the view and a kind comment if you leave one. So thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.